Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Executive Time Wasting. I've spent 10 years at this toxic company. Toxicity aside, I now hold 4 high-level positions. Increasing workplace toxicities resulted in me filing a complaint. After a month of inaction, an executive was placed above me in a department I created and run. I made it clear this seemed like retaliation. There were immediate demands and changes, most of which I objected to because they were bad ideas. HR stepped in. I conceded. 2 days in, he gave me an unreasonable deadline. Unreasonable due to his policy requiring that he approves everything, and the tasks were missing key details. When I explained the missing details problem, he said, "Ask Kelly." I stated that I already tried Kelly. He told me to ask Kelly again. So I set up a system to automatically require his approval once a task is created. Every time a task was entered, worked on, commented on, moved or modified, he would be notified. Then I worked overtime to enter half of the unreasonable tasks, so he awoke to hell. That morning he reassigned them to me without approval. I explained to my new boss that accounting couldn't pay bills without his approval and reassigned them back to him. He moved the tasks to complete. They weren't even approved. I moved the tasks and commented that he should be mindful, as the complete status signals to the team that the task is finished. I missed a few, and in my infinite wisdom I neglected to inform my team of current happenings. An honest mistake. For the next 4 hours, my team was melting down. I wasn't aware. A second executive asked why the invoice he approved wasn't paid and why his task was ping-ponging. I explained the new approval process and how the executive refused to approve the invoice. The next day, in our morning meeting, my team exploded. I explained the missed task to my team, and while angry at the lack of communication, we all got on the same page, and I promised to handle all issues and apologize. 4 invoices were not paid due to lack of approval. The CEO yelled at me. I pushed them through. The executive's appointment caused this to happen twice. 2 departments nearly shut down because of his lack of approval. 5 days in, and the executive politely requested that I stop assigning him tasks. He couldn't handle a portion of my job and argued over requirements when he didn't know the process. Part of it was funny, because it showed that the executive had no idea how any programs work. To resolve the issue, the CEO called a meeting, which the executive didn't attend. The CEO advised me to go back to running the department as before. The next day, several executives announced a new process for my department to all leadership. Despite not knowing about the policy change, the majority of the work would fall on me. I addressed the CEO. He claimed he was unaware. The process was halted, but he didn't see how I was disrespected. All process issues still needed to be discussed with the executive team and HR. But it looks like the changes will stick despite the bottlenecks, because I'm the one being blamed for following the process. A process made with little insight and an unwillingness to listen. The reality is clear to HR. Even though the executive's deadline was unrealistic, she knows I went out of my way to make his job as difficult as possible by following his process. Her disapproval is apparent, though she hasn't reprimanded me. However, the highlight is, despite turning off the automation, the tasks are still being assigned to the executive and I can't get it to stop. The next story is called Fired for His Mistake. I've been a graphic designer for 10 plus years and I started working for this calendar company. For our area I made decent money, but I worked like 70 hours a week, some days sleeping at the office in an empty office. When I started, they had issues where they kept screwing up. Come to find out, the owner shoved things through without proper oversight. I was doing the job of 3 people. After asking for help for 3 weeks, he finally hired someone. The guy he hired had never even seen a Mac computer till he was in that office and had no idea what Photoshop was. Well, everything we do is computer work, and he had no experience with a computer. He said he heard of Illustrator. The boss comes in one morning and says a job has to be printed and sent out to make it to an event. I said okay, get me the folder. The folder had everything about the jobs, all the sponsors, and any info I needed to have on it. Well, he said just use the example we sent out 4 weeks ago. He had sent the job back to sales to get more sponsors. I print out a quick copy so I can check everything. He checks it and tells me to print 250, which makes 500 calendars. I print them all off and go grab lunch and come back. The boss is in the office crying, saying we screwed up and the job was all wrong. After some back and forth, he admits to him screwing up, but he has to fire me since it's over $1,000 worth of product. I get up in a rush and start packing up my stuff and get out of there. I get everything in the car and I'm not even out of the parking lot, and said ex-boss is blowing up my phone. He found out that the guy he hired can't do anything. He wanted me to come back for $7 an hour, and if I did not mess up, I would get $11 an hour. I informed him that he had just fired me for his screw up, so where's the line for me screwing up? I would never ever get $11, no matter how good I did. I found out later that he had to pay an old graphic designer 3 times normal pay to come in and help. The last story is called Wouldn't Listen. I work in an off-license, a liquor store or convenience store. Most of my job is selling alcohol, but we also are a UPS drop-off point, so people can collect and send UPS packages from here. If a parcel is going abroad, it also needs 3 commercial invoices attached. One for UK customs, one for UPS, and one for American customs when it arrives. This system has been in place since Brexit. Before then, you only needed 1 copy, but for reasons I don't understand, leaving Europe cooked this all up, and now we have to do this. The result is, the instructions on sending a parcel abroad online are a bit confusing. So often people turn up without all 3 invoices, and I have to tell them that it won't be accepted. 90% of customers accept this once explained. Some grumble and then accept. But this specific customer was having none of it. For whatever reason, she plainly just didn't believe me. Even when I showed her the poster behind me, literally explaining that it needed 3 invoices. Whatever she had read online said that just 1 would be fine, and she would not accept some lowly shop worker telling her otherwise. Eventually, I gave up explaining that it was just going to get stuck in customs. And when she again demanded I accept the parcel, I replied, "Okay, but again, I have to warn you, this won't get to America." She rolled her eyes and I gave her the receipt. The confirmation the parcel had been received by the shop. Later that day, when UPS came to collect today's parcels, the driver and I had a good laugh about that parcel, and he happily took it. 1 week later, she's in the shop again, complaining the parcel still hasn't gotten to America, and what am I going to do? At this point, it's out of my hands. I'm just a drop-off point, so I give her the UPS customer service number and tell her she'll have to take it up with them. She informs me she's going to be complaining about me as well apparently. I don't care, I don't work for UPS. 2 weeks later, she is back in the shop with the same parcel to return it again. It now has 3 invoices attached correctly. My customer service voice is agonizingly sweet as I accept that parcel. My "have a nice day" afterward must have been the most insincere goodbye anyone has ever uttered. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.